safety function, the cooling system is really the core. However, this was not controlled fully. It's really a serious situation. It's very grave. But we don't see any symptoms that it's going to get even worse or more serious. And there are still efforts to be made and methods that we can take. Now, I understand that you have just come back from the United States at IAEA. They say that they will be sending people to investigate and survey the situation. So everybody around the world is really focusing on this accident. Yes. Yes, there is great interest in this accident, and people are hoping that the situation could be controlled soon, and people are waiting to learn lessons from the situation. Now, the concern is that, how does this compare to past accidents? For example, the accident at Chernobyl and also this 3 Mile accident. What is the situation right now? Well, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, compared to the Chernobyl power plant, it's totally different. The Chernobyl power plant, the containment, the stopping functions there, the power plant was not designed to contain radiation, so that's the big difference that we have here. And also the shutdown didn't occur, and so the Chernobyl accident happened in a matter of seconds. It developed into a fire, and all of a sudden radioactive material was spread everywhere.
Meanwhile, in the case of Fukushima, after the earthquake, all the nuclear reactors were halted, and also there is the structure which is intact to try to protect the reactors. But after a while, the cooling was supposed to take place. But this is the problem that we're seeing about the containment vessel, the pressure vessel. They are remaining intact, and therefore we do see that the function has been stopped, and also we have this containment function in place. Therefore, it's totally different from Chernobyl. So it's compared to Chernobyl, this is a totally different situation. What about the 3 Mile incident? In the case of the 3 Mile incident, the island, after the nuclear reactor was stopped, they did not take notice of the fact that the cooling function was dysfunctional, and about half of the fuel was melted in a short period of time, and this was deposited at the bottom of the pressure vessel, and this melted fuel, which was deposited at the bottom of the pressure fuel, was cooled. And this ended the situation. But at this point in time, that we don't know what is happening, but we don't think that things have evolved to that extent. But it is for sure that the core has been damaged. And that being the case, I think that, it is equal to, something equal to that of the 3 Mile Island is occurring here. And therefore, there is a need to cool the reactor and to try to settle the accident so that we can put a stop to this series of events so that it does not reach the level of the 3 Mile Island. Well, in the case of comparing with Chernobyl, you say that there is this containment function in place, but this number 3 and number 4 reactors, yes, it is outside the reactor, the spent fuel pool, and therefore for this, how should we consider the situation? What about the spent fuel storage pool? Well, this is a very important issue, we believe, because as you say, this is outside the containment vessel. But having said that, the spent fuel pool, the fuel here is something that has been cooled down, and the decay heat has been brought down before it is stored. And also this pool, compared to the reactor, has a very large volume, and therefore the fuel is dispersed. So there are gaps in between, you mean, these rods, yes. And therefore, it is a storage pool. Even if the fuel were to melt, it will not be the case where there will be a very serious case. And also, the decay heat is low. And therefore, it's most important to inject water. By injecting water and having the fuel rods soaked, then these spent fuel rods can be cooled down. And this will settle the issue. Well, supposing that you put water inside, what would happen after that? Well, another one day, we believe, well, over the past day or so, we have seen that this problem has occurred at the spent fuel pool, meaning that the heat generation is low and it is evaporating. Well, and well, it took us 5 days to come to this point where we're seeing this concern, meaning that if water were to be put in for a few days at least, we will be able to maintain the condition where the spent fuel rods are being cooled. So it's important that we put water because we can gain time by doing so. And in the meantime, we can think of other methods of cooling these spent fuel rods. And thereafter the radiation level comes down, it will become more accessible, this facility. And therefore, I think there will be other methods that can be taken to settle this issue. You said that there are various methods, and that is exactly what you meant earlier. All right, thank you. And another thing. Well, the public are worried about reaching criticality. So I think there are some people who are worried about that. What about this possibility? Well, I don't think that is possible. It's unthinkable. The reason why I say so is because in case of the core, the fuel, well, because the reactor has already been inactivated, the heat generation is very gradual. The temperature rise is very gradual. So the reactor is stopped now, but even if the cooling is not sufficient for a certain period of time and the melting were to happen, and even if it were to be deposited at the bottom of the pressure vessel, well, partially from the hot spot, it will come down and be deposited at the bottom, but this can be cooled with the water there. And also, the light water reactor, once the reactor is stopped in this case, it is designed so that criticality will not be reached.
Now, the spent fuel rods, is there a possibility that criticality will occur here, that they will reach criticality? The spent fuel rod pool, it is really vast and the fuel rods are quite dispersed, so I don't think there is a possibility of that happening. Well, of course, it doesn't mean that we can rest assured and that we are all safe. Of course, radiation leakage into the atmosphere is continuing even now, so I think that is the most biggest concern right now. Yes, the most important point is that the core and the spent fuel rod pool should be cooled down, and also the coating should be maintained so that, as well as the containment vessels should be kept so that we can really contain the radiation from leaking outdoors. Therefore, cooling is the most critical operation that is needed right now. Thank you very much. The accident has greatly affected the lives of the people living near the power plant. Initially, the evacuation area was in the radius of 2 kilometers.